Hello, my name is Susy Jordan. I'm the horticulture technician for the Town of Wellesley Parks Department.
And I'm Lisa Moore, and I'm the environmental educator and outreach coordinator for the Town of Wellesley's Natural Resources Commission.
My job is to take care of the garden spaces and parks that we have around town, which I enjoy very much. This allows me to be outside planting, watering plants, removing invasives, and weeding and pruning. One of my favorite parts of my job is doing this annual Arbor Day tree celebration that I do for all the 4th grade students in Wellesley. Every year, the Wellesley Rotary Club purchases trees for Arbor Day and helps me to bag them up so that students like you will be able to take one home today and plant it in your yard. Arbor Day is a day dedicated to planting trees. It is celebrated on the last Friday in April because spring is an excellent time to plant new trees in our New England area. J. Sterling Morton is credited with founding the first American Arbor Day back in April 1872. 100 years later, in 1972, the Arbor Day Foundation was created to continue the tradition of encouraging people to plant, nurture, and celebrate trees. As of 2022, they have over 1 million members and have planted and distributed nearly 500 million trees in more than 50 countries around the world.
So why should we care about trees? Why do they need to be nurtured? Why do they need to be cared for at all? Well, it turns out that trees are really important. They're important for us, and they're important for our environment. We have a special relationship with trees. Trees produce the oxygen we need to breathe. They filter carbon dioxide from the air that we produce, and they filter water through their roots, providing shade in summer and act as windbreaks in winter. Trees also provide food and habitat for many insects, animals, and birds. Their roots help to prevent erosion of soil and keep our rivers and lakes and streams healthy. They also help to anchor the tree in place. In addition, trees reduce noise and air pollution in our towns, provide renewable resources for us like building materials, and provide beauty for everyone to enjoy.
Hi, I'd like to introduce you today. One of my coworkers, he works with the trees, taking care of the trees around town.
Hi, my name's Logan. I'm a tree climber for the Wellesley Department of Public Works. So up in the tree is the tree foreman for the town, Jake. He is doing a light deadwood prune and inspection on this beautiful sugar maple up at Town Hall. This is something we like to do on a lot of these big old trees where we get up in them and look and make sure they're doing okay. This particular tree has a cabling system in it to maintain its structure, so we have to go up every now and then and make sure that's doing well and not rusting out. But yeah, so far this one looks good.
Trees use the sunlight and the carbon dioxide in the air and the nutrients in the ground and the water to make food for themselves. The green leaves act like a factory, converting the sunlight, the water, and the carbon dioxide into sugar through a process called photosynthesis. The sugar is called the sap, and it is used for the food for the tree, and it travels all throughout the tree through the tubes within the trunk and the branches and the leaves. As the tree matures and grows, it'll also produce flowers that will develop into fruits that will have seeds, and these will get transported into the ground and develop into new trees. Now I'm going to talk to you about your tree sapling that you will be able to take home and plant in your yard this week. You will also receive a green pamphlet just like this one that describes your tree, how to plant it, and where to plant it. So make sure you show this to your parents so that they can help you read it and learn about this tree. Your tree that you will take home is called a pin oak. It will look just like this one in a small plastic bag. These trees can reach up to 60 feet tall. You will want to plant this tree in a sunny location and give it plenty of room to grow. These native oak trees are great trees to grow in our area because they support many insects, birds, and mammals with food and habitat. Before you plant your tree, you will want to make sure that you take it out of this plastic bag and put it in a bucket of water to let the roots become nice and moist before you plant it. You'll want to soak it in some water for 3 to 6 hours, and you can reuse the soil that's in this bag in the hole that you're going to plant the tree. For this tree planting demonstration, I have a small evergreen tree, and these are called a white spruce. For planting these trees, you will need to have the following equipment: a shovel, a hose or a bucket or a watering can for watering, and some mulch in a wheelbarrow, and also some chicken wire fencing to make sure that nothing damages your tree after you plant it. Sometimes landscapers can get too close to the tree and that could damage the tree, or animals can come and nibble on the trunk of the tree. So you want to make sure that your chicken wire fencing is at least 2 feet high so it doesn't get damaged. I've started to make the hole here with my shovel. I've made it about 2 feet wide, and I'm going to start to peel away. I kind of sectioned it in 4 sections so that I could peel away the grass around it. When we have it all cleared out, that'll help so that the tree doesn't have competition in growing. And I'm going to probably dig this hole about 1 foot deep at least. But we're going to reassess. Once we take the tree out of the pot, we're going to reassess on how long the roots are. Choosing the right location to plant your tree is very important too. You will need a sunny spot like this, and make sure the soil is good also, and to make sure also that it's not too close to a driveway or other surrounding trees, since your tree will get quite large. And what's very important is that you find the base of the tree where the roots come out. Sometimes a tree will have a little crook or a little curve at the bottom of it, and you want to make sure, even if that's showing, that's okay. The base of the tree where the main roots come out, you want that to be level with the top of the soil, because if it's too deep, if you plant it too deep and you're covering that crook, then the tree roots won't grow properly. But also, you don't want the roots to be exposed. So you just want the top of the soil to be level with the top of the roots. You make sure you take all the bigger rocks out. Break up the soil a little bit. Make sure you don't put any weeds or grass into it. And as you put the soil in, it'll start standing up on its own, so you don't have to hold it as much. That's easier. And it's easier to use a shovel to put the soil in. That way, and if you break the soil off of the grass, you could reuse some of that soil. This is nice, rich, dark soil. You don't have to add any compost or any amendments to the soil. New England soil is pretty good usually. And also, when you add compost or amendments to the soil, it can make the soil softer inside of the hole, and then the tree has a hard time getting its roots out into the existing soil. So we actually don't recommend putting compost or soil amendments, just putting back the natural soil that was in place. And you can gently jab these clods of dirt a bit. That'll help loosen it up a little, because this soil is nice and rich. You can add that back to the hole. Just shake it out. And then I haven't packed it down yet because I just want to make sure that the tree isn't too deep. So sometimes I'll gently pull on it a little bit just to make sure those top main roots are level with the top of the soil, the surrounding soil. And I just smooth out the soil a little bit. You could take your shovel and just kind of jab around it a little bit. We haven't quite filled the hole yet fully, so this helps to get rid of any air pockets that are down below. The tree roots actually need some air down there in order to grow properly, but you don't want too many air pockets because then the tree roots can grow, get dry out a bit. At this point, we can add a little bit of water. That'll help settle the soil and also get rid of some of the air pockets. And I brought this watering can. Generally, you want to water the tree with about 2 to 4 gallons of water, especially in the beginning to get rid of any of the air pockets. When you water the tree also, you want to use either a watering can or a milk jug would be handy, or a bucket, or a hose. But you don't want to use a sprinkler because a sprinkler won't get deep enough of a watering for your tree. And your tree really wants to have a deep watering to make sure that the roots are able to grow. And we'll put a little more soil in the hole. Let's see. So now we're ready to mulch the tree. I've got a pitchfork and my mulch. We just use a dark pine wood mulch. It's not dyed or anything. It doesn't have any additives to it. So it's just pine mulch that's been shredded. It's very natural for the trees. You could also use wood chips for the trees. Aged wood chips are very good for the tree also, which you could use that too. And then I just sprinkle a little bit of mulch around the base of the tree. You don't need a whole lot. So the benefit of mulch is it helps keep the tree roots moist, and it also helps with a little bit with competing weeds that might start growing up around the tree. And it also shows people that you have a new planting here and that they need to be careful walking around it. And then you just kind of smooth the mulch out. You want to make sure that you don't mound the mulch at the base of the tree. Sometimes insects or animals can get in around it and start nibbling on the base of the tree. So you just want the mulch kind of spread around evenly. There. But not mounded at the base of the tree, like I've done here. And then lastly, this is your chicken wire. This is also very important. Put it around the base of the tree. This will help protect it from any landscapers that might be mowing in the area, or rabbits that like to nibble on new sapling trees, or any new plants they seem to like to nibble on. And you just make sure that you secure it. You can use some fasteners to close this, or just close it like that. You might also use some stakes. I only have with me wooden ones, but you could use some little wooden stakes just to keep it from blowing away is very important. Another important thing is to make sure that you water the tree for the first year. You want to make sure that you check on watering of your tree twice a week, but you want to make sure that you don't overwater the tree, because if a tree is overwatered, the roots can get waterlogged, and then it won't grow well either, because they want to have a good combination of nutrients, water, and the soil to help them to grow. Basically, as far as checking the tree if it needs to be watered, you could just reach into your cage, move the mulch away, and dig her into the soil a little bit. As you can see, the soil right now is very wet, so you don't need more water. If the first inch or so of the soil is wet, then I would say you could probably hold off on watering it a few days. And so here's your tree, and I hope you have many years of enjoying your tree and enjoying how it can support nature and wildlife in our area. Thanks so much for planting your trees.
Well, I want to say thank you to Susy Jordan for coming out today and teaching us all about Arbor Day and the importance of trees. And thank you for planting this tree to help keep our tree canopy supported in Wellesley. And we also want to say a big thank you to the Wellesley Rotary Club for their annual support on this Arbor Day project.